Hello, viewers. Just a small discussion about the Donald Trump's cabinet picks. Number one, he has chosen Marco Rubio, little Marco, as Donald Trump used to call him, as his Secretary of State. I personally think Marco Rubio would have absolutely no power in his 4-year tenure because Donald Trump will overshadow him. Donald Trump would have would say against Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio, because of his inexperience, because of his lack of stature and his lack of political clout, would be completely dependent on Donald Trump. Second pick is Michael Watts. Similar story, inexperience, would be completely overshadowed by Donald Trump. And I don't think he will be able to pursue his new con policy. Just a small snippet about the Donald Trump's cabinet picks. You see, he is choosing relatively inexperienced political hacks. If I look about Marco Rubio, which Donald Trump is used to call Little Marco, I don't think he has the political clout to have its sway in the upcoming 4 years in the Donald Trump's presidency. Similarly, if I see Pete Hegseth, the chosen defense secretary, I think because of his relative inexperience, kind of a dull stature, I don't think he would have much say. Donald Trump would be the boss and he will have its muscle thoroughly over them. Similar story with Michael Watts, the national security advisor. You see, the way Donald Trump is conducting his diplomacy and his maneuvering, I don't think newcons would have a lot of say in this upcoming administration. Just kind of a small word about the state of this institution, which is called as United Nations. I personally feel, with what we are seeing, witnessing since October 7th, 2023, this institution should be now closed and declared a defunct institution. Because whatever utility it had, the war in Iraq in 2003, where US, defying all UN conventions, pummeled Iraq because of its military might, and now we are witnessing the same thing, the way with impunity Israeli defense forces are committing an absolute chaotic genocide, this ethnic cleansing all over Gaza without any questions asked and answered by this institution called UN. Hello viewers. Israel is pummeling Lebanon, is pummeling Beirut and Daya region. Systematically, they have kind of doing this bombardment campaign for the last about 3 months or so. There is absolutely no one to even ask a simple question: why and who actually gave them this authority to conduct this, grand bombardment, which is causing hundreds of civilian lives, casualties of women, children all over Lebanon. No one is asking them a single question. You see, the West, the whole world community has allowed this genocide to take place in Gaza, and they are now allowing a similar kind of instances in Lebanon. The UN should be closed with its keys being thrown in the ocean. The US government has now released that US had spent about 184 billion US dollars in this Ukrainian venture, this Ukrainian theater in the last 2.5 years. $45 billion to US military in Europe, their presence. About $45 billion for the Ukrainian weaponry, NATO weaponry that was utilized in Ukraine, and about $45 billion for the Ukrainian civil assistance. The Ukraine government, this Kiev government, is totally dependent on the US taxpayers, and the biggest beneficiary of this grand larceny is the US military industrial complex, which has kind of made a heyday the last 2.5 years. The US government, especially Congress, has now released numbers of what they have spent during the last 2.5 years of this Ukrainian venture, this Ukrainian campaign. They have released that till today, in the last 2.5 years, they have spent about $183 billion. B with a capital B. B for ball. They have spent $183 billion, out of which about $45 billion for the US military in Europe, about $45 million for Ukrainian weaponry, and about $45 billion for Ukrainian civil assistance. Out of this money, this kind of large larceny, the US taxpayers have been systematically milked by the US government.